Welcome to Echoes of the Silk Road, a place where mystery, legend, and the unknown intertwine. From chilling encounters to forgotten folklore, every story is a step deeper into the shadows of history and imagination. If you enjoy unraveling the eerie and unexplained, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And now, let's begin our journey down the Silk Road. Some places are never meant to exist, and yet they do. Places that appear and disappear without explanation. Silent, empty, waiting. Today we'll explore three terrifying legends of vanishing phenomena. A house that was never built, but still haunts the land. A road that leads nowhere and refuses to be found again. And a town that appears to those who are lost, but may never let them leave. Keep your eyes open and your mind sharp, because some places are best left undiscovered. Story 1. The creepy mystery of the haunted house that was never built. Most haunted houses have one thing in common. They were once homes, places where people lived, where tragedies unfolded, where echoes of the past linger. But what if a house never existed, yet still managed to haunt an entire town? What if a place could be cursed, not because of what happened within its walls, but because those walls were never built? Welcome to the mystery of the haunted house that was never constructed. In a quiet town where history runs deep, there is an empty lot that has never been developed. Just an overgrown patch of land, seemingly unremarkable, and yet it isn't. Ask around and you'll hear whispers of strange happenings, of ghostly lights, shadowy figures standing where doorways should be, and an eerie sense that something is missing. Some residents claim to have seen a fully built Victorian home appear on the lot, only for it to vanish before their eyes. Others claim to have stepped inside. But here's the strangest part. No records, no blueprints, and no proof exists that anything was ever built there. Yet, the town speaks of it as if it has always been there, hiding in plain sight. Over the years, many have tried to develop the land, but every single project has failed. Blueprints vanish from records. Construction crews report strange, unexplainable accidents. Foundation work is undone overnight, as if something erases their progress. Some builders go missing and never return. One project manager in the early 2000s described how his team laid concrete for a foundation. When they returned the next morning, the entire slab was gone. Not broken, not cracked, just gone, as if it had never been poured. Then there's the developer who disappeared. A man purchased the land with grand plans for a small neighborhood. He started drawing up proposals, but before a single nail could be hammered, he vanished. His office was found abandoned, his notes and blueprints left incomplete. No one knows what happened to him. So what is happening here? Why won't the land allow anything to be built? There are several theories, each more chilling than the last. One belief is that a mansion once stood there, but something erased it from history. Some say it was a grand home, built in the late 1800s, only to be lost in an unexplained rift in time. Old-timers claim they remember their grandparents talking about a beautiful house where parties were once held, where carriages once arrived, but there are no photographs, no records, no proof. The house was simply forgotten by the world, except by those who still see it. Another theory suggests that an architect designed a home but never completed it. Some believe his unfinished blueprints somehow manifested into reality, creating a ghostly version of the house, an imprint of what should have been. People who claim to have seen the house say it looks unfinished, like a faded memory. The edges are blurred, the furniture inside looks half-formed, as if reality itself is unsure of whether it exists. A more terrifying legend suggests a family once moved in before the house was built. Somehow, they were caught between worlds, trapped in a home that never truly came to be. Some say their spirits still wander the lot, looking for the home that never was. That's why lights appear in windows that don't exist. That's why voices whisper from empty air. The family is still there, waiting for their home to finally be built. Over the years, countless eerie encounters have solidified the lot's reputation. The man who walked into nothingness. A delivery driver once swore he saw a fully built Victorian home on the lot. Curious, he pulled over and walked toward it, thinking it was a newly built house he hadn't noticed before. As he stepped through the doorway, he saw a grand staircase, a dimly lit chandelier, and dust-covered furniture. Then, in an instant, he was standing outside. No house, no staircase, just empty grass beneath his feet. One night, a local teenager was walking past the lot when he noticed a dim, flickering light in what should have been a second-story window. The only problem? There was no second story. He froze as he saw a silhouette move past the light, a shadow of someone or something inside a house that was not there. Moments later, the light vanished, and he ran. A construction worker from a 1990s development project was one of the last to attempt to build on the land. He quit after only 2 days, refusing to explain why. Before leaving town, he told a friend, "It's not that the house was never built, it's that it was never meant to be built. Something there doesn't want it. And trust me, you don't want to find out why." Today, no one tries to build on the land anymore. It remains an empty lot, yet somehow occupied. The haunted house that was never built continues to haunt the town, not because of what stands there, but because of what refuses to be forgotten. Is it a trick of the mind, a shared hallucination, or is something far more sinister at play? Story 2. The Vanishing Road, the highway that doesn't exist. We've all heard stories of haunted roads, places where ghostly hitchhikers appear, where cars vanish, where strange figures stand in the mist. But what if there was a road that doesn't exist? Drivers swear they've traveled down it, yet maps show nothing. GPS won't track it, and the next time they try to find it, it's gone. Welcome to the legend of the Vanishing Road. Somewhere on the outskirts of a small town, A mysterious road appears only to certain travelers. It looks ordinary enough: cracked asphalt, faded lines, an eerie stretch of trees on either side. But once you're on it, something feels wrong. Streetlights flicker, the air grows unnaturally cold, and sometimes, just for a second, your surroundings don't look like the real world anymore. Some say it's just an illusion, a trick of the mind. Others believe it leads somewhere you were never meant to go. There are dozens of reports of people finding this road, only to never locate it again. A delivery driver took a wrong turn and ended up on a silent, empty highway. He drove for miles without seeing another car. When he finally turned around, the road wasn't there anymore. A teenager on a midnight drive followed a winding path that suddenly stopped in the middle of nowhere. No turns, no exits. When he checked later, there was no road where he swore it had been. A hitchhiker was picked up by a passing driver on the road, only to disappear from the back seat moments later, leaving behind a cold, lingering presence. Something about this place doesn't belong in reality. So what is the Vanishing Road? Why does it appear and disappear? Some say the road isn't a part of our world, that it's a slip between dimensions, those who travel too far to never come back. There are rumors that a road once existed in this location decades ago, but was wiped from records due to a horrific accident or something even darker. Yet, on certain nights, it still appears. A few believe the road has a guardian, something watching, waiting, and deciding who gets to leave. Some travelers have reported seeing a figure standing on the roadside, facing away from them. No one who stopped to look has ever been seen again. Some of the most terrifying stories of the Vanishing Road include a man who swore he took a shortcut through the Vanishing Road. He even wrote down the route, but the next day, when he tried to retrace his steps, there was no road. His GPS showed nothing. The address didn't exist. When he asked locals about it, no one had ever heard of such a road. A woman was driving late at night when she realized she hadn't seen another car in over an hour. The trees on either side looked wrong, twisted, unnatural, as if watching her. She finally saw headlights in her rearview mirror and felt a moment of relief. But then, the car faded from existence, like mist. When she finally escaped the road, she checked her phone. 2 hours had passed, but her gas tank was still full. One of the most disturbing accounts comes from a man who picked up a silent hitchhiker on the road. She sat in the back seat, never saying a word. After a few miles, he glanced in the rearview mirror. She was gone, but something else was there. A scrap of old newspaper, crumpled on the seat, with a headline, "Local Girl Killed in Tragic Road Accident, 1963. Her face was in the photo. People who claim to have driven the Vanishing Road warn others. If you find it once, don't look for it again. If you hear someone call your name from the trees, don't stop. And if you ever see a figure standing on the roadside, looking away from you, keep driving. Because if you stop, you might never leave." Story 3. The Empty Town. A place that shouldn't exist. We all know small towns that seem forgotten by time. Places where nothing ever changes. But what if you stumbled upon a town that was never supposed to exist? A place with no records, no history, and no way out. Welcome to the legend of the empty town. Some places feel wrong. Maybe it's an empty lot that refuses to be built upon. Maybe it's a road that disappears from reality. Or maybe it's an entire town. A place that appears on certain nights when the mist rolls in and the roads shift in ways they shouldn't. A place where the streets are silent. The buildings stand abandoned yet untouched, and the feeling of being watched is overwhelming. Some have found it, few have left. Stories of the empty town date back decades. Those who claim to have stumbled upon it describe an eerie silence. No birds, no wind, no signs of life. Just a perfectly intact town as if frozen in time. One traveler swore he found a dinner with fresh food on the counter, but no people. A couple driving late at night pulled into the town for gas, only to find every single pump broken, every store unlocked, but abandoned. A hiker wandered into the town and saw a clock tower frozen at 3:17. No matter how long he stayed, the hands never moved. But the most terrifying stories come from those who tried to leave. What is the empty town? How does it appear and disappear? Some believe the town was once real, but was erased from history. Maybe through a disaster, maybe through something unnatural. But the town itself refuses to be forgotten. So on certain nights, it reappears. Those who find it walk through a ghost of the past, and if they stay too long, they become part of it. Another theory is that the empty town isn't a town at all. It's a trap. Some believe it only appears to certain people, those who are lost, those who take the wrong turn at the wrong time. A phantom town, waiting to claim new residents. The most chilling theory suggests the empty town isn't abandoned at all. People describe a feeling of being watched, of doors being open when they were just closed, of shadows moving behind windows. Some say the town is not empty. It's waiting. A photographer once claimed he spent the night in the empty town, hoping to document proof of its existence. He pitched his tent in the town square, setting up cameras on tripods to capture anything that moved. The night was uneventful. No sounds, no movement, nothing unusual or out of the ordinary. Or so he thought. When he awoke, he wasn't in the town anymore. His tent was gone. His cameras were gone. He was lying on the damp earth in the middle of the woods, miles from any known town. But the most chilling part? He checked his phone. It was still recording. The last footage? A tall, faceless shadow creeping toward his tent before the screen went black. A couple was driving late at night when they saw a brightly lit gas station in the distance. Relieved, they pulled in, only to find that every single pump was rusted, broken, and bone dry. The lights were on inside the station, but when they stepped in, the air smelled of dust and decay. Half-eaten meals sat untouched on the counters, as if someone had just been there moments ago. But the food was moldy, rotted beyond recognition. Feeling uneasy, they rushed back to their car, determined to get out. But no matter how many turns they took, every road led them back to the gas station. They tried for hours, taking different routes, doubling back, even using their GPS. But nothing worked. The station was always there, waiting for them. Finally, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, they took a turn and the town was gone. There was nothing but an open highway behind them. No buildings, no roads leading back. Just an empty field. A hiker, desperate for shelter from an unexpected storm, stumbled upon a small hotel at the edge of the empty town. The place was sold out but well maintained, the lobby eerily silent. A guest ledger lay open on the front desk, its pages yellowed with age. He flipped through out of curiosity, expecting to see names from long ago. And then he saw it. His own name. Written in his own handwriting. The date? The next day. Heart pounding, he dropped the book and ran back into the rain, determined to leave, but as he reached the edge of the town, he heard it. The front door creaking open behind him. And then, a voice. Leaving so soon, but you haven't even checked in. He never looked back. Some places are haunted, not because of what happened there, but because they were never meant to exist at all. A house that refuses to be built, a road that vanishes from reality, a town that appears when it wants to. Some claim these are just stories, figments of the imagination. Others say these places still exist, waiting for the right person to find them. If you ever come across an abandoned lot, an unfamiliar road, or a town that isn't on any map, keep driving, because if you stop, you might never leave. Have you ever encountered a place that didn't feel real? A road, a house, a town that seemed to disappear the next time you looked? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into eerie urban legends, stay tuned. There are always more mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and don't get lost.